This is Global Watch on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. I am Abigail Okwade. Kim Porter, the former Minnesota police officer who shot 20-year-old DAUNTE WRIGHT at a traffic stop, was charged on Wednesday with second-degree manslaughter, prosecutors say, and is set to have her first court appearance on Thursday. Porter alleged she confused her taser with her handgun. The incident has engulfed a small Minneapolis suburb with 4 straight days of clashes between protesters and police in Brooklyn Center. Responding to the charges, the Wright family's lawyer, Ben Crump, said the killing was an intentional, deliberate, and unlawful use of force. Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension said Mrs. Porter was taken into custody on Wednesday morning. She was booked in a Hennepin County jail on probable cause second-degree manslaughter before a bail of $100,000 was posted. In Minnesota state law, a person can be found guilty of second-degree manslaughter if they can be proven to have shown culpable negligence where they create an unreasonable risk and consciously take chances of causing death or great bodily harm to someone else. The charge carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. The United States has cancelled this week's planned deployment of 2 warships to the Black Sea, Turkish Foreign Ministry officials said, amid high tensions over a Russian military buildup on Ukraine's border. This comes after Turkey said Washington would send 2 warships to the Black Sea in a decision Russia called an unfriendly provocation last week. The U.S. Embassy in Ankara had notified Turkey's Foreign Ministry of the cancellation, officials said on Wednesday, but did not provide a reason. Turkey's state-run news agency later reported that no new notices have been conveyed to Ankara for potential deployments at later dates. U.S. officials said Turkey may have misunderstood the initial notification and that the deployment was never confirmed. They said the U.S. frequently notifies Turkey of potential access to Black Sea, adding that a request does not necessarily mean ships would pass through, but rather ensures that if they choose to, they already have the required approval. Still in the United States, the United States government is set to issue a wide range of sanctions against Russia in order to punish the Kremlin for a cyber espionage campaign against the United States and efforts to influence the 2020 presidential election, according to reports from senior U.S. officials. The administration also sanctioned 6 Russian companies that support Russian spy services, cyber hacking operations, and will expel 10 intelligence officers working under diplomatic cover in the United States. Diplomats will reportedly be among those targeted. The administration of U.S. President Joe Biden is also expected to issue an executive order barring U.S. financial institutions from purchasing double-denominated bonds from June. In a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday said Joe Biden said the United States would act firmly in defense of its national interest without specifying the exact timing or measures. Biden also raised the possibility of a summit with Putin in a third country that could allow the leaders to find areas to work together. Last year, cybersecurity researchers identified a hack in a piece of software called SolarWinds, an intrusion that gave cyber criminals access to 18,000 government and private computer networks. Intelligence officials believe Russia was behind the attack. Russia has denied any involvement. India's coronavirus cases have hit 200,000 in a single day amid a devastating surge that is straining a fragile health system. This caused 2 of its largest cities to impose stringent restrictions on movement. There are plans to use hotels and banquet halls to treat coronavirus patients. India is a major producer of COVID-19 vaccines, and its pivot to focus on domestic demand has weighed heavily on global efforts to end the pandemic. The health ministry said the total vaccinations crossed 114 million, with more than 3 million doses administered on Wednesday. New Delhi announced stay-at-home orders for the weekend, though essential workers will be able to move about if they have a pass from local authorities. Restaurants, malls, gyms, and spas will also be shut down. Movie theaters will also close on weekends, but can operate on weekdays at a third of their capacity. The move in the capital came after similar measures were imposed in the worst-hit state of Maharashtra, home to financial capital Mumbai. The bustle of India's biggest city ebbed after authorities closed most industries, businesses, and public places Wednesday night and put limits on the movement of of people for 15 days. Train and plane travel was still allowed, however. Cremation and burial grounds in the worst-hit areas were finding it difficult to cope with the increasing numbers of bodies arriving for last rites, according to Indian media reports. 200,739 new infections were recorded, with 1,038 deaths from the COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, pushing the toll over 173,000, the Health Ministry reported. You are watching Global Watch. More stories on health, and after the break, do stay tuned. Welcome back. You are still watching Global Watch on your digital first Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. Still on other health matters, the World Health Organization on Wednesday launched Global Diabetes Compact aimed at increasing access to affordable insulin and reducing the death rates from diabetes. More than 420 million people worldwide live with diabetes. The most common is type 2 diabetes, which occurs when the body becomes resistant to insulin, the hormone that regulates blood sugar. Tedros Adhanom, the World Health Organization Director General, said the number of people with diabetes has quadrupled in the last 40 years. It is the only major non-communicable diseases for which the risk of dying early is going up rather than down, and a high proportion of people who are severely ill in hospital with COVID-19 have diabetes. The need to take urgent action on diabetes is clearer than ever, he added. The Global Compact focuses on several priorities. Among the most urgent is increasing access to diabetes diagnostic tools and medicines, particularly insulin, in low and middle income countries. Another key aim of the compact is to set a global price tag that quantifies the cost and benefits of meeting new targets for diabetes care. So we move to business, where high uncertainty surrounds the global economic outlook, primarily related to the path of the pandemic. 1 year into the COVID-19 pandemic, the accumulating human toll continues to raise concerns, even as growing vaccine coverage lifts sentiment. An estimated contraction of minus 3.3% in 2020, the global economy is projected to grow at 6% in 2021, moderating to 4.4% in 2022, according to the International Monetary Fund. Global growth is expected to moderate to 3.3% over the medium term. Output losses have been particularly large for countries that rely on tourism and commodity exports, and for those with limited policy space to respond. The projected recovery follows a severe contraction that has had particularly adverse employment and earnings impact on certain groups. Youth, women, workers with relatively lower educational attainment, and the informally employed have generally been hit the hardest. Thanks to unprecedented policy response, the COVID-19 recession is likely to leave smaller scars than the 2008 global financial crisis. However, emerging market economies and low-income developing countries have been hit harder and are expected to suffer more significant medium-term losses. Further developments will depend on the path of the health crisis, including whether the new COVID-19 strains prove susceptible to vaccines or they prolong the pandemic, the effectiveness of the policy actions to limit persistent economic damage, the evolution of financial conditions and the commodity prices and adjustment capacity of the economy. In sports, POGBA, Manchester United midfielder, has signed a deal with Amazon Prime to produce a documentary on his life named POGmentary. The POGmentary will give a unique insight into the 28-year-old France international's life and on and off the football pitch. The series will air in 2022. Amazon Studios head of European Originals, Georgia Brown, said the company were thrilled to be collaborating with POGBA, one of the most prominent talents of his time, she said. Prime Video will also show the man behind the fame, delving into his life off the pitch and letting him tell his story in his own words through the unprecedented access afforded to them, she added. Amazon Prime has already produced documentaries on Manchester City and Tottenham, as well as other sports. And that is it on Global Watch for today. For more updates, do visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Do also follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail Okwade. Remain safe. Thanks for watching.